be like,
oh,
okay,
all right, we're here.
good.
We're here. We did it.
I just had BT. I'm like this. Give me a gummy bear.
For those of you who don't know, this is Keely Harris. I would say she's a member of 9 a.m., but she's not. She's a member of every single class. She's been, I feel like, in every class besides 5 a.m. and 6 a.m., but she's made contact with you guys on the weekends, you early birds. But Keely has an upcoming event in June, and Keely has a lot more than an upcoming event. She created this organization that I've had her share with some people, throughout the days, but she came to me and was like, I'd love to come into the gym and talk to every class about it. And that's a lot of work, and I know how much work that takes. So I said, let's do a podcast and let's talk about everything that she's done, everything that she is doing, and then share the event with you guys. So that way, if there's any local business owners that maybe want to donate, or if you guys want to donate or even volunteer or participate in any way, and then in addition to that, use this conversation to open this up for anybody at Balboa and CrossFit. Like Keely and I were just talking offline. She's like, what do you want of this? And I was like, I don't know. I think I just want to continue to open the conversation about everything. The more we talk to each other and the more we share stories and we share experiences, we're able to kind of grow from it and use it for our own personal experiences. One specific one for me with my sister dealing with the breast cancer, I have a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. And like I told Keely, I had one conversation with her last week, which just brought me like a lot of calmness. And there were things I didn't even know about in breast cancer, which you would think I would know everything with the amount of advocacy and the money we raise around it. But there's still things I'm learning. And in this organization, there's a lot with our parents in this community and people that aren't parents yet that are striving to be parents can learn from this. And it's really eye-opening. So I'm going to hand it off to Keely and have her start off about the foundation and where it all came from.
Okay. The foundation's name is kind of a tongue-tied, but it's G6pd Deficiency Foundation. G6pd is an enzyme, glucose-6-phosphate dehydrogenase. This type of enzyme we all have and we all need. It helps our immunity. It helps protect our red blood cells. It helps us stay strong with energy and so on. So everybody needs this enzyme. What happened to our family is the reason why I started this foundation. My son was blessed in giving us our first grandson, and this was 11 years ago. And when he was born, he was healthy, beautiful, pink. He was, right on with everything. And within 5 days, we almost lost him. How does that happen? Like in this time and age, the day of it, everybody thinks that USA, we got it all together here. And there are some things that are being ignored when a baby is born. And that is testing for a certain deficiency of this particular enzyme. So when this happened, we didn't understand why my grandson got extremely jaundiced, like overnight, out of control type of jaundice. And it was actually being treated as being normal jaundice.
And just to explain what jaundice is, because
jaundice is when a baby turns yellow. And what causes that is because your blood cells are breaking down and they create a toxin called bilirubin. So the bilirubin builds up and you begin to turn yellow, your eyes, your skin, and it's something that has been happening, but when it really happens, that's when you start showing it. And everybody does have their red blood cells break down, but not to this extent in this quick period of time. Now, don't get scared because jaundice, about 80% of American babies born are jaundice in different levels and different degrees. Does not mean that they are deficient of this enzyme. But the purpose is to know the difference. Doctors should be testing if a baby is deficient, and it's a very simple test. And if the baby is deficient, they treat it totally different, the jaundice, than they would if it was a normal jaundice going on with the baby. But they don't have this extra tool to use when discharging a baby, whether this baby should be discharged or should be watched. Mm-hmm. So what happened to my grandson was he was sent home. And while he was home is when this usually happens if you are deficient with G6PD. this enzyme, you this happens like overnight kind of thing. And you don't even realize like what's going on with my baby until the baby is listless, doesn't want to eat, and all of a sudden it's a copper color. And and that's exactly what happened to my grandson. And even though he was brought back to the doctor was not even still not thinking it was G6PD deficiency and still treated it as normal jaundice.
Now, at that point, did you know what G6PD was?
Absolutely not. Never heard of it.
Yeah.
And in my family, we have a lot of medical people in my family, and they never heard of it, or they heard of it maybe for about a minute in their medical training, maybe if that. It's very, very common. It's not rare. 4% of the world population has it. So that's millions and millions and millions, like 400 and somewhat million of people have this.
Yeah.
It's genetically carried. In other words, it's on the X chromosome. So it's in families. And a lot of times people do not know they have this because you have this deficiency does not mean what happened to my grandson is going to happen. He just had a perfect storm. Because what causes the blood cells to start breaking down is because you no longer have this enzyme protecting it, because your body in different times of your life get run down because of oxidative stress, which we all have heard of, like antioxidants. That's why we take antioxidants, is to avoid things like this. But if you're deficient in this enzyme, then you're more prone for things like this to happen, like getting run down, getting anemic, not feeling well, you're tired. You might even become jaundice. Your urine gets darker sometimes. Things like this. These are signs that you may be deficient of this. So why am I talking about this?
Before you go into your why, and I want you, just because of our community, right? We have people pregnant for the first time.
Right.
We have people that maybe are ready to deliver any day. We have people that just delivered within the last 4 to 8 weeks. What would be your recommendation for those parents? So let's start with a pregnant person right now. Let's say someone's 4 months pregnant. What would be like the best protocol for them as a parent right now? Can they get tested while they're pregnant? Is it after the baby comes?
Okay, ideally, it would be great to know if the parents are deficient. That is something that they could talk to their OBGYN doctor about. Then also in New York, the foundation was able to have a bill passed. We got that passed in New York just for screening for G6PD deficiency. So doctors have to screen for this under a certain criterion. And it's interesting, this particular enzyme deficiency came from different parts of the world. It came, the mutated gene, it sounds awful, but it's a mutated gene that's been carried from like Mediterranean area, Asian area. There's an African, and they're called variants. There's different variants of this particular condition. It's very confusing. It's not black and white in the sense of it's so clear to understand everything about this deficiency. So I'm tending to ramble on, but what I wanted to stress that if you're pregnant and you feel that you have either signs of this, you're not feeling good. Sometimes oxidative stress really does matter to your body. It does do things. Maybe this is something you should talk about. Talk about it with your doctor. Now, when the baby's born, you're in New York. Before this baby's born, talk to your pediatrician. I guess your OBGYN to tell the pediatrician that you want this tested when the baby is born.
All right, follow-up questions, because I know the parents will spiral and things that will come up. If I don't know if this is possible, say, because it is genetic, say I saw somebody in my family under oxidative stress and they were jaundice. That's not the right?
Or became anemic.
Right, but maybe it was
down.
Never, like I saw my uncle experience that. Is that a sign to say that it potentially is in our family at a different point of life that they went through it?
Yes.
So
yes,
that's like something to think about, like, because as like the age you become parents and we see people getting older, like because it's not a known thing. Like in my head, I'm like, oh well, I've seen people like when they get sick get there, that like it might be a flare. Like, I don't know if that's the right words, but it could be a thing. And then my other follow up would be like Jaden was born and was jaundice, right? But and again, it's weird that I didn't think twice about it, right? Because Birdie was after Birdie was before Jaden, and Keely's daughter and I had a baby literally a month apart. And I remember Marquis saying this stuff to me. But when you're in that postpartum era, to be forward, you're not thinking of anything. Like you don't want to think anything, and you're like your head's not straight. So if someone has a baby and they are jaundice and the doctor's ready to send them home,
Mhm.
can a mom or dad advocate in that moment to have the baby tested before leaving the hospital?
Yes.
What?
It's a good thing to know,
Yeah.
especially if the baby's jaundice. You have
It's
little
concerning,
bouts.
and they
It's
will send you
concerning.
home. They
They
will
will.
send you home.
And that usually everything's fine, but there are these perfect storms, like a threshold. How much can a baby take? And if they're deficient, their threshold might have been met. And that's what happened to Brody. And he got extremely jaundiced when he was home. No one their new parents, they don't know any better.
Yeah.
You can't blame it on the parents, but you can kind of get upset with the doctor for not considering it once knowing this was going on. What happened to Brody, his prognosis after being extreme, it's called hyperbilirubinemia. He got brain damaged, permanent brain damage. It's called kernicterus. Kernicterus is when you get brain damage due to this toxin called bilirubin. It's different levels, different degrees. It's very scary. We almost lost him. His motor skills. What happens is this bilirubin will go. There's not a barrier yet developed in your brain when you're a newborn for this. So they weren't protected, and if you reach a certain threshold, this toxin starts entering your brain, and it goes to the motor skill area. So he can't hear well, he can't speak, walking, he's in a wheelchair, but cognitively, he's right on. So he's kind of like trapped in his body. He can't move as well as he'd like to, but his brain is starting to learn to re-circuit.
Yeah, you said recently, like with the iPad and stuff too, right? He's been like really.
Yeah, he's doing well for an 11-year-old, but he's frustrated as anything because he can't do what he really wants to do, and he knows it. So I'm trying to avoid this. The foundation is trying to prevent this from this happening to another family, because it shouldn't. Everybody should know what g6pd deficiency is, just like anemia, just like sickle cell, just like diabetes, but no one's heard of it. And it's a horrible word because it's so tongue-tied too.
Yeah, you can't even get the abbreviation. g6pd.
Yeah. So it's not to make you crazy and say, oh my gosh, I got to get tested. It's just to think about this, learn more about it, understand that this perfect storm can happen. Not that it will, but it can. And how healthy this child's going to be. If you're deficient and you know it, you're going to be fine. It's when you don't know it, is when all this chaos happens throughout your life. Yeah. Like even my own daughter-in-law, she didn't know. It's on the X chromosome. She was the one carrying it. She had bouts of anemia. She would faint a lot, feel, lightheaded, different times of her life, because she met her threshold where her.
Now, if they were able to not diagnose her or identify the gene sooner, could she have had more support as a individual growing up? So there's that, right? It's there's things to do to help her
stay healthy.
Yeah.
And to, the idea is knowledge, education. No, you can't test yourself for everything. But this is a simple blood test. If you feel like you're run down all the time and they all say, oh, you must have had a virus, or there's no, especially when you're being almost like a hypochondriac.
Yeah.
This is something maybe you should be tested for.
Yeah. And again, that's why I wanted to have Keely on here to have the conversation. As I'm sitting here thinking, I need to send this to Christina and have Christina Montalbano send this to News 12 for you and share your event and share this podcast, because it is important. It's almost like something before it's too late, and you don't want to say it like that, but it's something that you maybe can help do preventative things and preventative maintenance to make it better.
Right.
And that's why you started this foundation.
Right.
So the other side of Keely Harris, it's so much bigger than just a foundation, right? So she's going to share about the event, but what actions now? So she's the president of this foundation that you've created.
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
What have tell them a little bit about the steps you've taken, because I think that's really, going to DC and doing things like that and the stuff you've done.
We have been, we got associated with a great advocacy company, and they helped us get the doors open to go to, especially with New York, to go and speak to the health,
Legislators.
the legislators, and especially the ones that are involved with the health committees in New York, and they listened, and we got it done. It was mainly what we did, but we're trying to get it done for every state. There's 49 more states to go, or try to make it national. So if anybody knows anybody, well, I need that door open so we
You might know someone in here that might know.
So it's very important, and it's time now to make the difference. It's no longer something that we can hide. We are a mixed salad bowl, in the sense of our genetics. United States, that's what we're known for. We're like a Heinz 57, a lot of us.
Literally.
Right. So you may think you know everything ethnically about yourself, but you'll be surprised.
No,
You could possibly have this, even though you may not be. Let's say my daughter-in-law is Italian and Puerto Rican, and when it was the Italian side, the Mediterranean, it was her grandmother that passed this on, and her grandmother was not well for many times, but they never knew why. And she came from Italy.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of countries screen for this. We're practically the only country that doesn't screen for this. Like this, yeah.
Welcome to America. It gets better and better, everyone.
But we're changing it.
We're changing it.
We're changing it.
We're doing our best.
Yeah.
One gene at a time.
Yeah.
Or one journey at a time. I don't even know, because the amount of change that needs to happen.
You're going to really help somebody.
Yeah.
4%. You think about it. 4%.
So tell the community a little bit about the event, because it's the first annual golf outing. Right?
Yes.
It's the first one you're ever doing.
Maybe the last. No, I'm kidding. It's a lot of work, and I'm having it in 2 weeks, so I'm exhausted. But right now, I'm not going to talk about it.
Not about the exhaustion. She's going to talk about the event.
But
it's on Monday, June 23rd.
June 23rd.
All right.
Yes.
Right here around the gym from Babylon CrossFit.
Yes.
So it's on the golf course right here, which is a 3-par.
Yes, it's all about the short game.
I'm learning.
This is totally new. You don't have golf outings about the short game. So it's all concentrated on really how you putt, how you get that ball to the green without, with maybe one hit.
No idea what any of that means, but okay. I'm here for it. She has 3 different tee times.
Yes.
Right. And then after is a bash at Lily Flanagan's in the afternoon.
At 2:00.
At 2:00 from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Yeah. Just throwing it out there, 4 p.m. We can cancel 4 p.m. and go to class at 5, so I can stay the whole time. If not, I'll be here for 4. The coaches and I know Tommy's planning on golfing that day. I know OB and I are trying to make Scott's planning on golfing.
And a couple of CrossFitters.
Movements involved too, right? They're sponsoring you in some way, some capacity.
Yes. Babylon CrossFit.
Yeah, we donated. And again, I know we have a lot of local business owners here, different things. If you guys didn't have a chance to donate and you want to donate a basket to Keely, I'll put that out there. She's definitely, I know she did the baskets last night, but she'll never say no to more. She'll figure it out. But
even donations to the foundation.
Foundation. I will, when we put this out, we'll share the full event info. But again, you don't have to be a golfer to come. I don't golf whatsoever. It's the only class that I actually got a B in college. It brought my GPA down to a 3.86. Not cool, but fine. I'm over it 10 years later.
Sure.
So I'll be there and cheering and helping in any way. Or if you want to volunteer in any capacity, whenever you run an event, you could always use hands. But yeah, I thank you for sharing it. I know it's personal and I said it to her before we got on here, but Keely inspires me in so many different ways, from the gym to motherhood to a leader to a business owner, and just the advocacy, right? You're so strong like that in so many different ways. And I just think she needs to speak out loud a lot more, not just about this.
And I find a lot of CrossFitters are givers.
Yeah.
they give their time. They do. They feel. I can't explain it. It's genuinely the type of person that will do CrossFit.
Yeah.
So they want to better themselves, and they want to better other people as well while doing it. So it's really cool. And if anybody wants to help attend during the shotgun at the course, I need some attendees to just, watch someone if they get a hole in one.
Yeah. So like if you're working from home, come hang out with us for the day. We'll be there on the golf course. Come say hi. It's literally around the corner.
But let me know, email me so I
I'll put her email out there as well. We'll share the foundation link. We'll share the event information. We'll put everything out. Anything else?
No, I just, if you know somebody who is thinking about getting pregnant, you should let them know about this too. Not just because you are pregnant, but people should really learn about this. And
the irony of your gym owner owning a pregnancy and postpartum business, with this being something in the round, right? Weird.
Yeah.
But it's another thing that I'm grateful that you're sharing with us, and that we can kind of have, the experience to learn from and help other people, more importantly. And I don't think this will be the end of Keely. I feel like we're going to have a breast cancer one soon based on.
Yeah, I wear many hats. My life for some.
But the breast cancer thing, again, like, not to go back to it, but what you said to me, a lot of people don't know about, and I was just like, all right, we need to have that conversation out loud.
Yeah.
So we'll start to talk about that. Let me continue to navigate my own health, and as we figure out my whole plan, and then we'll talk about it out loud, because I do want to share it to help other people.
Okay.
But thank you, everybody. Keely, she's in the gym. If you don't know her, please introduce yourself. She's wonderful. She's very inspiring. She holds the world record plank in Babylon CrossFit.
I do.
You do. It's like 4.5 minutes. I don't remember what it was.
It was 5. It was over 5.
Over 5. No
Let's get it straight.
No big deal. The world record holder planks. David Godfrey's trying to come for you.
That was really funny.
I don't forget it. I don't think anybody forgets it, to be honest. Anytime we do a plank in the warm up and we complain, Keely did it.
If I can do it, anybody can do it.
Exactly. Well, thank you, Keely. I appreciate you taking the time out, of course. And if you guys have questions, reach out. If you can't find Keely, I'll get you in touch with her. Thank you.